we had a call going on in the contact center, and I was ushered down as the chief risk officer and security officer. This person has been on the phone for the last 15 minutes, and we cannot come up with a question that they can't answer. However, they're mispronouncing nearly every restaurant. They're mispronouncing the community I'm from, which is Dubuque, Iowa. We could clearly tell that they were a fraudster, but they had absorbed the identity of our member, and there literally was nothing. I, in fact, jumped into the situation. I started asking a variety of deep questions. I went back multiple statements, and these people were really, really good. That led me to the realization that in today's future, fraud is 24/7. It never sleeps. How are we going to combat it? It's going to take a multitude of things. We got to know who we're talking to on the people on the phone that's coming in, and we can do that through ID forensics. We need to ascertain the identity of the individual, and we can do that through biometrics. And then we need to automate where we can. So not necessarily just to cut staff, but to allow us to serve that low-hanging fruit. What's my balance? What are your hours? What's your routing number? All of that stuff we can move off our plate so we can serve members at a much, much deeper level for those deeper interactions that they're seeking. So that's where this 3 legs or stool had originated from. And I think it has as much efficacy today as it did several years ago when we started putting it together. We're trying to stop fraud. We're looking for a partner that has the resources and tools and things like that. But then how do we solve it is the real key. And what we were looking for is a number of factors. Number one, we wanted somebody that was committed to the financial services industry. If you go out and Google AI, you can literally come up with 500 or 1,000 different companies out there that are doing AI. However, they're not specialized in financial AI. Big difference. The learning curve is exceptionally steep. We wanted a partner that could come on day one with 50, 100, 150 built out, ready to deploy journeys that we could put members into to help them right away. We were looking for somebody that was committed to reinvesting in the technology. We were looking for individuals that had the resources to invest. And then, of course, the expertise with the AI and staying at the forefront of that AI. The big 2 pieces were, a lot of folks do AI. A few folks do AI for FI channel, but nobody wraps around the forensic ID and the biometric around that entire transaction to really stop and really meaningfully impact the ability to control fraud losses through this channel. So that's what really led us to the solution that we're on today. Examiners today are looking for more and more layered approaches to fraud and security, creating that mosaic, if you will. What tools and techniques can you stack on top of one another that interact with one another? So the biometric, if that triggers a score, well, that feeds over into the automation. If we have the deep forensics, and if you think about running 100 different checks on every single caller to the contact center, and it's completed before anybody even picks up the phone, that is powerful. And when you bring that all together and create that mosaic on top of one another, that's where you begin to see that real value. It really just kind of came down to what were we after? We wanted to offer our members better service 24/7, because right now we have 20% of our membership work second or third shift. So 24/7 availability is really, really important, because we're not at the asset size yet where we can really afford to staff a contact center 24/7. So that was important. We recognize that 12% of our membership would prefer to communicate in their native language, which was Spanish. We have dozens of members, probably 100 members, that call in over a dozen times a day to check their balances. So if we can automate some of those calls, and if we can gain efficiencies from some of those calls, it gives our team that opportunity when somebody does come in and they have a pressing need that present AI cannot solve for, but I'm pretty confident future will. We will have the staff and the team and the time available to go deep with that member and really deepen that relationship and end with a much more satisfied member experience for that interaction that really requires more in-depth conversation. Right now, we serve every time zone in the United States, and we serve 28 different foreign countries. So having that ability to serve these individuals in a variety of ways has been well received. Having the ability on the nights and weekends to serve individuals has been well received. And then when we have those conversations with members, sometimes, they'll ask, hey, what's up with this automation, or why are you moving to this? And when we take the time to explain that we're not so much trying to only drive efficiency as much as we're trying to create more meaningful opportunities for engagement, that when you call in, 100 checks on your phone has been run before we even pick up the call to prevent an account takeover and to prevent you from being a victim of fraud. When they start to understand that, then the light bulb moment starts to go off and they're like, I see these individuals are working in my interest. I see that they're trying to put the latest and greatest tools in place to help prevent fraud. I think we're in the golden age of AI, right? We are changing faster than at any point in probably human history. AI is probably one of the greatest inventions ever done. If you think about the sophistication of what the fraudsters are doing today, the only way that we're going to compete with them and catch them is to combat it with AI itself. We have to use AI itself to go right after the fraudsters trying to do the exact same thing. Because right now they are so good, there's not a chance that we could defeat them without the use of this AI tool. So I think it really lends itself to the power of the product. I think it's critical that your organizational strategy and your organizational strategic plan matches what you're doing with this AI. The two have to come together, and it has to become part of what you are trying to accomplish as an organization. The other thing is, selling the benefits and promoting the benefits to the membership from the get-go. So individuals don't view the AI as necessarily only a cost savings or a staff reduction type tool. In our case, it had as much to do with being able to deliver 24/7 service, Spanish, prevent fraud, a lot of other things besides any efficiencies. So it's important to get that out there. And then keep things simple for the member. We're continuing to add journeys. And I think that's what's critical in a partnership. When you look at a partnership, are they committed only to financial institutions? If the answer is yes, okay, what kind of journeys do they offer? And what kind of journeys can they put into place on day one? Finally, look for a partner that is committed to and is lobbying in your best interest. In other words, their pricing is contingent upon your continued growth and use of the product. And we found that through our association with Interface, where, as our usage continues to ramp up, there's greater incentive provided to Interface to help us get there. That to me is a true partnership where we're both rowing in the exact same direction. We are stopping fraud. There's no question about it. Individuals are trying to impersonate a member. As soon as that call goes through its forensic review, it gets sent over to a live agent. It has, a stoplight essentially saying, ask additional questions. And At that moment, they know that they're not going to get through, and then it's a hang up. That has definitely worked. We're seeing automation rise. And what really excites me, we're in the infancy of AI, but the next 6 months, 12 months, 24, 36 months, this is going to be amazing what's going to be available. And to have an adoption rate at nearly almost 50%, and we're ready after one full year seeing positive, all expenses less our savings. So it's a true net savings of $350,000. I am really excited about the future of what we can do together as partners, because we are in the infancy of this. And when we see AI continue to grow and blossom and bloom, the sky's the limit.